The Executive Director, Live Abundantly, Onyerinma, joins me now on Skype to talk about this. Dr. Onyerinma, it's good to have you join me right now. Nigeria has been involved in the fight against trafficking for quite a while now, but despite this fight, we still have a lot of Nigerians out there that are trafficked one way or the other. How disturbing is this?
It is most disturbing, and it is a dire situation heightened by the current pandemic.
All right, as it is now, NAPTIP has been creating awareness, some level of awareness across the country at their own level. How effective would you say this enlightenment has been if we still have young people who can fall prey to this deceit, if I have to use the word?
Yes. To understand the pathology of trafficking, we have to know that this has been going on for a very long time. It's been decades, years. Who knows how long trafficking has been going on? Well, some may even say it goes back to slavery. But the point is, modern day trafficking has been going on for quite some time and will probably continue, because there's certain measures that are not in place to hinder it. When you have a pandemic that exacerbates a situation where people do not have money for food, for water, for shelter, for security, they will fall prey. They become that much more vulnerable to criminals. The cartel that runs human trafficking, it's a $150 billion cartel, and that is what we estimate. There are no true values because we don't even know how many people are actually being trafficked. We don't have any figures for Nigeria to begin with. They're all estimations. A few years ago, IOM said there were about 750 people who were in Libya trying to come back to Nigeria. We know that this is an industry that's about 30 billion people globally. The emphasis on Lebanon right now is because going to Europe is not as easy, but they're all over the place. And it really comes back to a systemic lack of reinforcement within the country and internationally. There are laws, but these laws are not being adhered to, and the traffickers know the way around the system. And so they would lure these young women, these teenagers. They're all over the place. We have them in Mali, we have them in Libya, we have them in Europe, we have them in Lebanon, we have them in Asia and in the Americas. It is a epidemic situation that requires the government and all individuals to participate. When you see it, you must report it. You can't hide human trafficking. And if I may just interject here once more, trafficking comes in two forms. In Nigeria, you've got the national within the country that's going on, and then you have the international. It is estimated that the international, which we're focused on right now, is only 2% of the actual trafficking going on within this country. So more has to be done. We must educate young people. It has to be part of the curriculum. A few years ago, there was word about NAPTIP having some social educational curriculum that will be in place in the schools. I'm not aware that it has been released. Perhaps it has, but from the people I've spoken with, no one seems to know what I'm speaking of when I bring it up. So education is key, social systems are key, and the laws must be adhered to, and there must be punishment for those who continue to perpetrate this crime. And for the victims that come back, there must be a platform where they can speak about this. Let's get them to speak so that people understand the detriment, not just to those individuals, but to the society as a whole.
All right, talking about traffickers, the IOM as well as NAPTIP have been involved in this for quite a while, and they understand how these things play out and all the different, because when they carry out the enlightenment campaign, they try to talk to people how these things manifest. But we haven't heard so much about the issue of prosecution and those who are really the traffickers. What do you think is the missing link here?
It is very difficult to prove that trafficking has occurred. You have to show that there's proof of coercion, that there's threat of violence, that there are just so many little elements that are required as stated in the law to prove this. On the other hand, the people who are trafficking, many of these traffickers are family members. And so there's that resistance to reporting that my father, my brother, my uncle, my cousin, my boyfriend, my husband, you will be appalled the extent to which family members are trafficking their own. And it's all for the purpose of making money and turning them into sexual slaves, harvesting their organs, forced labor, debt bondage, name it. The list goes on. Children who are begging on the street, child labor. There are laws. Let's be honest, the Child Act was adopted, maybe 17 years ago? You may have to correct me on the data. How many states have actually adopted it in Nigeria? 25 out of 36? The Violence Against Persons Act of 2015, I think only 13 states and the federal capital have adopted it. All the others haven't. When these laws are not enacted throughout the country so that it is adhered to, the borders remain porous, the traffickers will know how they need to get around it. And I always have said this, there are others within the system who make it possible. If you don't have a passport, how are you leaving Nigeria?
Exactly. All right. We have to leave you here now. Dr. Onyerinma, Executive Director, Live Abundantly Initiative. Thank you for talking to us on TVC.
Thank you for having us.